G'day listeners and welcome to another episode of the Scouting Australia podcast, powered by Australian Property Scout Buyers Agency. I'm your host, Sammy Gordon, and today, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a good one. This is an episode that I have been waiting for a very, very long time and excited for a long time as well. Now, anyone that was at the summit in the Gold Coast last year, being 2024, in April 2024, you might remember a young man that came up on stage. I believe he was the last mentoring client to be selected of the day. And the speech that he pretty much gave after he came up was one that moved pretty much everyone in the audience. Specifically around changing the financial trajectory of his family and really, what it meant to him as well. And I got goosebumps on the stage. People told me after they had tears in their eyes, they had goosebumps, everything was going on. And on that note, I would like to introduce Mr. Yao-Chen. Mate, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Scouting Australia podcast.
Hello, Sammy. How are you?
I'm doing very, very, very well. Thank you, mate. How you doing?
Very well, very well.
Are you feeling good?
Yeah, very excited.
Very excited.
A little bit anxiety.
A little bit nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, man, you're going to do well, mate. I'm excited to unpack it. And I know the people are going to take a lot of value out of today's episode, man. And I think a lot of people are going to be moved. Man, you sent through, even when I remember, working with you being obviously a mentor and client when I sort of transitioned more into smaller groups of clients that I manage myself personally. And man, I remember when I heard your story and read the application back then, and then, man, even going through the application, it was like the notes that you sent through before today's podcast as well around your journey to give me a bit of a high level snapshot. Man, it's a moving story, and I think one that a lot of people are going to really, really resonate with and man, be inspired from as well.
Yeah. I think, it's a tough journey, and then I hope my story can inspire more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, mate, before we jump into the journey and obviously the backstory from where you came from, the upbringing, man, the hardships that you kind of went through to even get started on this journey as well. I mean, you've given me some photos. I've got some photos in front of me, guys, of where it all sort of started and the very, very humble beginnings of yourself. But man, before we dive into everything, I'd love to have a little bit of a high level snapshot of the portfolio right now. Where is it sitting, man? How many properties you got? Total value?
Yeah, I have 6 property for now, and then the total value is about 2.7 million.
2.7 million across 6 properties?
Yeah, across 6 properties.
Beautiful, man, beautiful. I love that. Now, mate, before we jump into it, I want to ask you one thing. What does it mean to you to be investing in property and have built? I know you're a low income family, man. That was a big thing when you came to me. You were really stressed around something you were holding. But what does it mean to you, man, to have built a 6 property, $2.7 million portfolio in the last 2 years?
It was unreal. It was really unreal journey, and I couldn't believe it. How we come this far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my wife always says, how can we have 6 properties with help of Sam Gordon? And then she couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it means a lot, yeah?
It means a lot. It's just rebuild our future.
Yeah,
as well.
Rebuild the future, man.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. And I think that's what so many, Australians can really resonate with as well, man. Is obviously coming from those humble beginnings, and yours are even more so, obviously, coming from overseas and slogging it out at the start. But man, let's dive into that. So, where you're originally from, man? How did this all start? Man, give us a bit of a run through that backstory of the journey.
Yeah, I'm a migrant from Taiwan.
Okay.
I wasn't born into a rich family, and my mom was a school nurse.
Okay.
My dad worked in the government, and life was simple and modest, but we always had enough. I remember clearly a moment from primary school, and that changed my perspective of forever. After school, my friends would jump into a luxury car and head home with my family, my mom, my 2 sisters, and myself, was squeezed onto a tiny motorbike. I sat in the middle, and then watching those kids with shiny cars roll away. So let's see what's planted. One day I want to be rich.
Yeah. So the seed was planted from seeing your friends drive away in the rich cars, and you guys were squeezing onto the little motorbike.
Yeah.
3 kids and your mum heading home from school.
Yeah.
How was that, man?
It was packed. Yeah, and everyone's crowded together. Yeah. On the motorbike.
Yeah. But then the feeling wise of that as well, seeing the kids. That's what planted the seed of wanting to create some wealth and build that future.
Yeah, exactly.
And so your mum was a teacher, you said, and your dad worked in government?
Yeah. My mom was a school nurse.
Oh, sorry, school nurse. Okay,
school
school nurse. Yeah. And the dad worked in government.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. What did they think around? Like, what was their? I guess the way that they brought you guys up as well, man. Like, how did you? Were they wanting you to go to uni? You know, what sort of things? Was it finishing school? Was it getting out there and on the tools, working early? Like, what was the sort of I guess premise or behind all that?
Yeah. They want us to go to the better university.
Okay.
Yeah, so they spend a lot of energy and time and money to get us to go to the tutoring.
Yep.
And then so that we can get a high paying job and to build a better prosperous future.
Yep.
That's all they want us to be safe and then be like normal person and have a good life and with kids.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. And so what was the sort of journey, man? So that's obviously Taiwan.
Yeah.
Back when you were a kid as well.
Yeah.
What was the journey in terms of getting yourself over to getting to Australia, man? Was it did the family move over and you came over with your family? Did you come by yourself? How was that journey sort of of getting to Australia, and why Australia?
Why Australia? I would say it's a difficult situation because we were involved into a scam.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Taiwan?
Yeah, in Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah. My English teacher back then, and then because he wants us to, because I want to be rich. So he knew it as well, and then she introduced us a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then that book cracked open a world that if we want to be financial freedom, and then that's the path. That's the book, and then I spent years chasing different investment strategies like stocks, options, and forex. I took courses and attend seminars, but nothing worked. Okay. I lost more money than I can care to admit, and then I discovered Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow board game.
Okay,
and then it led me to a local community of investors, and we played the game together, share ideas, and eventually I met a real estate guru.
Okay.
He introduced us to joint property investments.
Okay.
And later on to a mining project in South Africa that promised 20% returns.
Okay.
At first it delivered, and then for 2 years we received consistent payments, and then trust was built. So my wife and I took out $100,000 personal loan at 12% in P&I interest.
Yeah.
And believing this would be our biggest breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were told by him to come to Australia, Darwin.
Yeah.
A place I don't know. I don't even heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he said, you can get a better job there and then earn more money.
This is your guru.
Yeah, this is my guru.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he told us to come here because he's done some research and then figure out this is the place that can earn the most of the money.
Yeah.
And
so to make more money, to invest more into this mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Okay.
Bloody hell. And I remember we only got $3,000 to our bank account, and we got no jobs and no English fluency, and then we landed in Darwin and completely lost.
Completely lost.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I mean, we don't know what to do.
We lost when you got to Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a job lined up?
No.
So he just said move to Darwin.
Yeah, move to Darwin, get a job, and then figure it out yourself.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk me through that, man.
Yeah, and then the first year we struggle because it's no one's here.
Of course.
And you have to work your way up by yourself, and my wife. And then I remember we took a bag of grapes and then walking through all the aisles down the city.
Yeah.
Darwin is a small city, and then there are only like four main streets.
Yeah.
So we door knocking all the shops to trying to get a job.
Yeah.
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 And that was how hot it was.
Really?
Yeah, it was under like 40 degrees.
Yeah.
And then we were sweating.
Yeah.
And we forgot to bring our water bottle. So just a bag of grapes.
A bag of grapes.
A bag of grapes.
To eat on the way.
To eat on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
No water.
Yeah, no water. Just knock in the door and then we're looking for a job. We just landed here. Yeah.
And then you well, okay, then how did it go from there? You landed something, obviously, some sort of job?
Yeah, some sort of job. And then we found a couple jobs like laundry factory.
Okay.
And then like we done a couple jobs, bun cleaning and chicken packing factory.
Yep.
And then the second year, we like it's a tough time for the first year, and the second year we get used to it.
Yeah.
So my wife went back home, and then I stay here to save more money.
Yeah.
And then because we still having investment, the guru told us.
Yeah.
So
you're still putting money into that?
We're putting money into that,
Wow.
and then receiving the interest.
Yep.
Yeah. So we think everything's fine.
Okay.
We just earn more money and then put more in.
Yeah.
And then the second year, I moved into a tiny unit with a 60 years old Vietnamese lady.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tiny unit. Yeah.
This is the photo, because you've sent me a photo. I got the photos in front of me. This is the mattress on the floor with the little mosquito net on top.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And the only thing we have in that, it's a living room.
Okay.
It's a living room.
Yeah, I can see it's right by the front door.
Yeah. And with we only have a fan. I only have a fan.
Yeah, in 40 degrees.
In 40 degrees, Darwin.
Heat.
Yeah. Plenty of mosquitoes and flies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember the rent was $60 a week.
Okay.
And then I do multiple jobs, trying to save more money.
Yeah.
So I was working with a airline catering company.
Okay.
And in the daytime, I work with them, and then after hours, I just stay for a couple more hours to collecting bottles.
Yep.
And then to try to subsidy the rent.
So you'd get the bottles after from the airline, and then you'd go do the cash collection to pick up to get the change off that.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're working multiple jobs and you're doing the cans and the bottles and stuff. Wow, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just scraping as much as you can together.
Yeah. And then my colleagues asked me, "Why are you doing this? No one's doing this. Why are you doing this?" I remember one day my boss said, "Oh, you gotta stop doing this."
Really?
Yeah. They say, "Oh, it's like because it's the stuff from the airplane, and then they have to quarantine them."
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. So to recap here, your wife in year two's moved back home.
Yeah.
You've stayed there to keep working, to keep saving the money.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the game plan from here? What's happened from here?
After that, I enrolled into the TAFE. After I moved to Sunshine Coast to TAFE.
Yeah.
And I enrolled in the TAFE cookery course.
Okay.
And after 2 years, I was one of only 2 students in my class to receive a permanent residency visa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I became a chef, and I got a job on Hamilton Island.
Oh, on Hamilton Island?
Yeah, Hamilton Island.
Wow.
Yeah. And I realized you couldn't save your way to financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So people say if you want to make more money, you have to start your business.
Yeah.
So I started a Amazon FBA.
Okay.
Yeah, fulfilled by Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Only then I lose 50 grand.
On the Amazon business?
On Amazon, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
50 grand.
Yeah.
Because I lose money on advertising and the poor product selection.
Okay.
So I lose it all.
because you bought all the inventory and then you couldn't sell it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
okay.
And also when I deliver products from China to United States, because of poor product selection, the product broke during the transport.
Yeah.
So I lost a lot of money on that one.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Had you lost some money on the African mining company yet, or that hasn't happened yet?
Hasn't happened yet.
Okay. Shit. All right. I want to rewind one step.
Yeah.
You were saying about your English teacher in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Introduced you to Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes.
What were the light bulb moments in that? Why did you? What was the significance of that?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Real estate can do so much that normal people couldn't do.
Yeah.
You can get leverage on property.
Yes.
But none of the other investment can bring you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why were you putting? Sorry, man, just to be blunt here, but why were you putting like the Amazon side of things, right? With like sinking 50 grand into that.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go into property sooner? Or just because if you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad and gone through everything from that end, and I don't know when the transition obviously comes from this journey you're at right now. You're
Yeah.
living in Hamilton Island. You're a chef there, and obviously you've sunk $50K into the Amazon business. If you're understanding the piece around the leverage, like when does that come in, the property side? We don't need to jump straight ahead to that, but like
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to why you didn't start it then. If you knew, if you kind of been doing the reading about Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I tried to do it back in Taiwan,
Okay.
but I couldn't do it in Australia because I wasn't Australian yet.
Okay. you
Yes,
didn't
I
have the
couldn't do
residency.
anything
Yes,
but
yes,
to
yes.
go to the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. All right, man. Let's keep going then. So you're the chef. Has a wife moved back over yet?
Yeah.
Okay, she's with you on Hamilton Island? Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
How good. I got the photos here as well.
Yeah.
on the island with us. So she's moved back over.
Yeah.
And man, so what's the pathway from here?
What happens next shocked us.
Okay.
Our teacher vanished with 61 million.
Whoa. The guru
The guru
with 61 million.
with 61 million gone. The last clips we saw him was the surveillance camera on him waving a taxi to the airport.
Yeah, right.
So that is the last image we have.
Wow.
And until now we couldn't find him.
Are people still chasing him?
Yeah, people still chasing him,
Wow,
but
man, that's
we
crazy.
couldn't find him.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I remember vividly, my wife and I staring at each other in disbelief. We felt betrayed, devastated, and lost. Yeah, and at that moment, I felt like our effort had been wasted, and I kept blaming myself and asking how could I have been so stupid. But my wife looked at me through tears and then said, "What is done is done," and then we couldn't change it, but we have to take control from here. And that moment changed everything.
Okay. Talk me through after that then.
Yeah.
So they've done the runner.
Yeah.
You guys are obviously upset.
Yeah.
What's done is done is the
What is
words
done
from
is
the
done.
wife.
Yeah.
And you've taken the steps forward from there.
Yeah.
Where does that lead to now?
Yeah, we have to take our ownership.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember back then I was working as a breakfast chef.
Yep.
I waking up at 4 a.m. and I walk into the dark hills of Ireland.
Mhm.
And bats flying around over my head and my headphones always playing property podcasts because I know that is my only way out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Property.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I try.
Yeah.
I try stocks. I try Forex. I try investing in other
Amazon.
people.
Yeah,
Amazon.
Yeah.
I try to invest in someone's trust.
Yeah.
But they all fails me.
Mm.
So I know I have only one option left is property.
Okay.
Yeah. So I determined to learn everything I could. I realized I couldn't hand my future to someone else, so I have to build it with my own hands.
Mhm.
Taking ownership is the biggest lesson I learned from this scam.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bats are flying over your head
Yeah.
at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
before you start your chef work.
Yep.
You're listening to the property podcast.
Yep.
You're getting all the information.
Yep.
You're realizing that you need to take this ownership into your own hands. And the only thing that's left to you guys that you haven't tried yet
Yep.
is property.
Yep.
You've got your permanent residency.
Yep.
Now we're going game on, right?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So this is why we now turn to property, and you're looking at. Talk me through the process of how you then made the decision to go property one. Did you stay on Hamilton Island when you bought your first property? Were you still living there?
No, I bought my first property after Hamilton Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk me through that. So you've moved from Hamilton Island. You've gone to.
Yeah, I gone to Brisbane.
Okay, so you moved to Brisbane.
Yeah, I moved to Brisbane.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, and I engaged a well-known BA.
Okay.
Because I don't want to make any more mistakes.
Yeah.
So we engaged a big name BA.
Okay.
And then they introduced us to a property built in 1990s.
Okay.
And then that old property we have to they say it's a good investment if you knock it down and then rebuild it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we don't have experience, but we know we're not stupid.
Yeah.
And most of all, we don't have money to knock it down and then rebuild it.
Yeah.
I know it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we just paid the engagement fee, $3,000 gone.
Yeah.
And then we walk away.
You
We
walk away
pulled
from
out.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We walk away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you this big name buyers agent, they've sourced you a property. It's it's they're saying, oh, you buy, you do a knockdown rebuild on it. So other than that, like you didn't like the investment at all. You walked away from the BA or just from that deal?
I walk away from the BA.
Okay.
Because I know they are not fit for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. And so what's the pathway from there, man? So you've walked away from a big name BA.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very similar story from someone else sitting across the chair from you at a certain point in his journey as well.
Yeah.
Man, walk me through, the process then. So you're living in Brizzy.
Yeah.
Still looking for your first deal.
Yes.
Are you guys looking for it yourself or you engage someone else?
I engage someone else.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think we have the knowledge enough to buy a good investment property.
Okay.
So we put our trust in someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we found a guy on Facebook group.
Okay.
And then he just bought us from he just told us that buying this property and then he would negotiate for us.
Yeah.
And then in the end he found the property around Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah, surroundings.
Yeah.
And it's a blue chip area.
Okay.
And then the price was 860,
Mhm.
860K.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then
And what was the rent on that?
The rent on that is 580.
Okay. So 860,000.
Yeah.
580 grand for $580 a week.
Yeah.
How much, if you don't mind me asking this,
Yeah.
how much were you guys making at the time as a household?
As a household, probably 111.
111 grand. And you've got a
111.
kid as well, yeah?
No, I don't have kids.
You didn't have,
have
a kid?
yeah.
At that time?
Yeah, at that
Okay,
time.
sweet.
And the interest rate was really low.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it was 2.49.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was really low at the time.
Yeah.
But obviously, from a strategy piece, 860 grand, renting for 580.
580, yeah.
Obviously, no disrespect, lower income sort of household as well.
Yeah.
Not a great investment for you guys,
No,
especially
it's
from a
not.
cash flow side, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, I bring this up and I comment on that because that's why you messaged me. I remember when you first Facebook messaged me, and it was interesting timing because I'm never on Facebook Messenger. I am very rarely on the socials.
Yeah.
They're typically handled by other people, by my team, not by myself. And man, I remember when you sent me that message, which I'm not sure how long ago it was after that. I'll let you jump into the story of it, but there was something that I can't remember exactly what it was that you said, man, but something about that struck me a bit. Talk me through from there. So you've bought that property. What's a time frame? What's a timeline? Like when did you start feeling the pain of obviously that blue chip, lower yielding asset in your portfolio?
That blue chip, I think after that blue chip area, we know we have to balance the portfolio. So we bought another property that year after, year after.
Okay.
And then
Did you buy that yourself or with someone else?
with someone else again.
Okay. The same person?
No, not the
Another
same
person?
Another person.
Okay,
Another
okay,
BA.
okay, yeah.
Another BA. Yeah. Yeah. We just because after we bought it, we feel weird because we couldn't the cash flow wise is like very tight already.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about maybe we need another BA to buy us another higher cash flow property.
Yep.
So in the next year we bought another one to try to balance the portfolio.
Yeah.
And then after that year 2022, I think the interest rates start rising.
Yes.
And then that start eating our savings. And
Yes.
then we feel the pinch.
So talk me about property number 2, if you don't mind just quickly filling me in there. So property number 1, 860K renting for 580 a week.
Yep.
Property number 2?
Property number 2, we bought for 450.
Where was that?
Slogan.
In Logan?
Yeah, in Logan.
Okay. Yep,
Yeah,
perfect.
450.
Mhm.
And
And that was renting for how much?
that was renting.
It would have been about
The yield was 5%.
5%. Okay, so
Yeah.
about 450 a week.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then, okay, sweet. And then the guy, the RBA is saying we're not going to raise rates the earliest until 2024. They start raising them in 2022.
Yeah.
You guys start feeling the pinch.
Yeah.
Talk me through what happens from there.
We were struggling with the financial pressure and from the first property, and we didn't know APS or U at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just tried to figure out ourselves.
Mhm.
And when 22 the interest rate start rising and then eat our savings.
How much was it costing you a week or a month, a year? Do you remember how much it was costing you? Did you work it out?
I think it's $6,000 a month.
$6,000 a month,
Yeah.
70 grand a year,
Yeah.
and you're making 111,000 a year,
Yes.
which post tax is probably 85 to 90 grand a year.
Yeah.
So it was fully bleeding you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I worked that out. If
Jesus.
Yeah, I worked that out, and then I told my wife, like, we couldn't support this negative gearing anymore.
Yeah.
We have to do something. So I reached out to 10 different experts and desperate for answers. And then one of that is you. Yeah. And not only you, Sammy, walked me through. You broke down the numbers for us, and suddenly we knew we had to sell the property and cut the losses. And move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I remember that piece vividly when you reached out to me, and then man, I could. It was funny, man. Well, not funny actually. Sorry, it was interesting because I could read the desperation in the message, just being like, it was something along the lines of, Sammy, can you please help my family? Like we're going under, we're struggling or something like that. I remember I read it, man. I was like, man, this guy is like seriously in some hurt here and some issues. And I remember because I was like, man, I'm gonna book you in for a call, have a chat with you because I can feel your pain. And then man, we booked in the strategy session from there and started, and exactly as you said there, ran through the numbers. And I think what's prudent to note, and a lot of people would probably remember, I've mentioned this story in particular before. In particular, that first deal that you bought, and the lack of strategy that went in behind it, from said BA, man, that, effectively you guys had a borrowing capacity to buy up to 860,000, but you were low income earners. And he's bought to the full capacity of 860,000. And then left you guys with an asset that, okay, across that and the other one, let's say the other one's costing you $5,000, $10,000 a year or something to hold, but then that one's costing you $60,000 a year to hold. If we subtract the other one out of those numbers as well, man, it's just completely unfathomable for you to be able to carry an asset of that negative cash flow on the incomes that you're on. And man, I've used that as an example before because it was just the lack of strategy that went in around that, and just these guys have 860,000 to spend, so I'm going to go spend 860K. And then man, the financial pressures that it put on you guys, the lack of thought that went into it absolutely blew my mind. And in all reality, man, it's fucking dangerous. You know what I mean? It's dangerous to buy an asset like that for you guys on the incomes you're on. Blue chip or not, I don't care. Like it's man, you put someone's financial, future at risk because of like the full, financial safety of your whole family at risk, just by going out and buying something at a property like that at your full pre-approval amount. It actually makes me quite angry, man. Like, and I've told you this very openly before, because it just people shouldn't be playing with financial futures like that. That strategy piece should be coming into it, has to come into it, because otherwise you're playing with someone's livelihood. And so I think both of us are very grateful that you reached out to me that day and we booked in for the strategy. Because if there's one thing I love to do, man, it's help, especially lower income earners. Because I know, man, I've come from that, in a big way. I started from the very bottom. So yeah, man, I know the pain of working the multiple jobs and then getting something like that. So man, walk me through next steps from there. So you and I, we've had a chat. We've booked in. We've had a strategy session. We've run through the numbers. I've hit you with the the big hit that you need to sell that thing. Or otherwise you guys are going to go under. Walk me through what's happened. What happened from there?
Once you break down the numbers, and what you really inspired me about is you were straight with us. There's no BS or sugarcoating, and you didn't tell us what we wanted to hear. You told us what we needed to hear. And for that kind of honesty is really rare. So we are really grateful and appreciate your advice.
No, pleasure, man. Pleasure. Dude, it's always call it how I say it, right? And yeah, man, obviously it's paid dividends to this point as well. Not only obviously clearing something that was costing you guys, sinking you guys, but also set the stage now for the next phase that you guys went into as well.
Exactly, yes. And then we sold the ACD house for 880. And then
you sold what? Sorry,
we sold that house.
Oh, that house, property house. One,
particularly one. And then for 880. And then we probably lost 30 grand. We cut the loss. 30 grand
because of stamp duty, BA fees,
and the renovation. 10,000 of renovation is old house.
And the agency fees as well. Obviously selling. Cool.
And then, but once we sold it, we feel great relief. Because we have a peace of mind. And then we also know we find a right one. That's you. Yeah. Sam Gordon and the APS team.
No, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you made the decision, you've sold it, you've cut that loss, that the thing that was bleeding you guys,
Yes.
and then you've realized you're on the pathway now. We've got a strategy in place.
Yes.
We're going to execute on the strategy.
Yes.
Talking about property number 3, which we're probably number 2, number 3, whatever we want to call it, because it's the next one in the mix.
Yeah.
Talk me through the steps.
Yeah. With the help of APS team, we bought property after property.
Okay.
Yeah. But we actually didn't trust you at first.
Bro, you've been burnt by bloody everyone. So I would be surprised if you trusted me implicitly from there.
Yeah.
And I've told you to do something that no one else told you to do, and something like selling it as well.
No.
So you didn't trust me.
No, I didn't trust. No, I didn't trust anyone, not just you.
I get
I
you,
was
I get you.
terrified.
Okay.
Because lost so much money, one after another.
Yeah.
But you are different because you are having your mission. You want to help 500 families to reach their financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So you are different, and I just love it. I think you are the right one.
No, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we've created the strategy. You're terrified
Yeah.
of making another mistake.
Yes.
But you still keep pushing. So you keep pushing forward.
Exactly.
Man, what's still pushing you forward at this point? You've been scammed 100 grand or more from this bloke that's run off with 61 million. You lost 50 grand on Amazon.
Yeah.
You got burnt by the first BA that's bought you the wrong property that's costing you guys an absolute arm and a leg.
Yes.
The second one's doing okay. It's doing its thing.
Yeah.
Why do you guys still have the confidence to keep pushing? Or not even the confidence, but where does the drive come to keep pushing forward and keep investing from here?
I think because of the podcast, I keep listening to yours.
Okay.
And then I know I have a deep feeling the property is the way.
Okay.
It's a tool
Okay.
to help me. Yeah, because it got leverage and it got so much other advantage that other investment couldn't achieve.
Okay.
So I know this is the tool.
Yeah.
Right tool for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though you've had those losses, you've had those lessons and learnings and the rest of it, you just see it as part of the journey, and you've realized that property is your vehicle, and you want to keep pushing forward with it. It's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's
Okay.
my vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bought, and then I start working with APS.
Okay.
The property 3.
Yep.
In 2023, we bought 342. 342K.
Yep.
A 4-bed on a 979 square meter block.
Ooh, juicy.
Yeah. And now renting for 530 a week.
Okay. Okay.
And now
That's a good yield, man.
That's good yield. The yield is 8% yield.
There we go.
And then now it's worth 520.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then it's like 52% growth.
52% growth.
Yes.
When did you buy?
2023.
Do you remember what month?
Months I couldn't remember.
Can't remember?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'd be intrigued if it was like 18 or 24 months, if it was at the start or the end or whatever.
Yes.
But 52% growth, you said.
52%
In an
growth.
18 to 24 month window.
Yes.
That's impressive.
That's crazy.
So we're having a win.
Yeah.
We're having a win.
Having a win.
Beautiful.
First deal with APS, I having a win.
The trust is coming.
Yeah.
The confidence is coming.
It is.
What state was that one in?
It's Queensland.
Queensland. Yeah, beautiful.
Queensland.
Beautiful. 2023. Good timing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then we
How you guys feeling after that one? So you bought that one, obviously it's renting well.
no more doubt.
No more doubt.
No more doubt.
Doubt's gone.
No, doubt is gone.
Okay.
Yeah. No more terrifying.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Man, talk me through next steps, pushing forward from here.
Okay. And then we hit the serviceability walls.
Okay.
Yeah. I think everyone will face this situation.
And we're in the middle of obviously skyrocketing interest rates as well.
Yes.
So we're in the middle of this all playing out of your interest rate's not going to do anything, and then they've done this massive run, and
Yep.
and obviously that's affecting, or it has affected your serviceability as well.
Yeah.
So we hit the serviceability wall.
Yep.
We hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
How do we break through the glass ceiling?
Then the school of property course is
Here
a
we
real
go.
is a real game changer for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't just for learning. It gave me a clear blueprint.
Okay.
You explained everything from the ground up, and then starting with the basics, and then till more advanced stuff like self-managed fund
Mhm.
and creative learning.
Mhm.
And then I listened to other heaps of podcasts before, but none of them, they only scratch the surface.
Yeah.
They couldn't go deep down. They don't have a strategy proven. They don't have a proven strategy, but you have you build up a system. So you walk me through it all step by step. So it became like a properly Bible for me.
Property Bible.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've gone into School of Property. You've gone from property number 1 to property number 2. You've taken a step back. Now you just got one property. Then you buy the second one with APS. You do School of Property. You figure out, obviously, we strategize, and obviously you learn from that property Bible that is School of Property how to keep pushing forward and go to the next level. Because I remember at the time as well, you were using your own broker, right? So obviously everything around that, you've been able to take that, apply that, learn, and obviously go to the next level from a serviceability perspective as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Talk us through the next deals then.
Yeah. And after that, I want to talk more about School of Property.
Okay.
Yeah, because
let's go.
because after going through all the content, I had a aha moment.
Okay. Aha moment. Okay.
Yeah. There's I think the ROI isn't just stand for return on investment.
ROI. Okay.
It also stands for return on knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. Return on information.
Okay.
Yeah.
ROI, return on information.
And return on information.
Okay.
Because all the information you put into the School of Property, it's like, if you don't know those information, you couldn't achieve. You couldn't achieve what other people. Because you don't. How did I say this? If you don't have those information, you couldn't achieve beyond.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that information, the return on information, like you're talking about, allows you to go to the next level.
Yes.
So it's like, it's not just the cost on the course, it's like a whatever, but like that information now applied is now the return on investment of now being able to move forward and keep building the portfolio.
Yes, that's what I tried to say.
That's all good,
Sorry
man.
about
No, sweet, man. It makes sense.
Yeah.
The return on information, man, it's a great point to make, because obviously ROI, everyone's just looking at the direct return that they're getting on what they put into, say, an investment or something.
Yeah.
But obviously, like you're saying there, return on information and then applying it properly in your portfolio and going to the next level, like you've done, is it sounds like it's massive.
Yeah. And also, because I was a long time listener.
Yeah.
And then I used your tactics, like blocking out all the noises.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like the negativity.
Negativity.
Yeah.
Don't listen to those negativities.
Yeah.
And then I just put the ear plug on.
Yeah.
And then listen to heaps of property, like top 1% podcasts.
Okay.
Scouting Australia.
Yeah.
And even every week I listen to your weekly podcast, weekly news update.
Oh, the news bulletin.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're just saturating the mind with the good information. That keeps it positive, keeps you moving forward.
Yeah. And sometimes I put it on my background, and I'm not trying to listen in carefully, but those information is just sinking into your brain.
Yeah.
And you don't have to you do it without trying. It's all the information like I automatically running at your background.
Yes.
And just absorb that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man.
It really
It's
helps.
interesting. Yeah. They say like if you're trying to learn a language, you put it on when you go to sleep, and you subconsciously like pick up things and pick up learnings, you know what I mean? As you're going to sleeping and listening, that subconscious.
Yeah.
So you're just saying it's continually saturating your mind, so you're continually learning about all this stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. No, I appreciate the shout out on School of Property, man, and that it's obviously been so helpful for you in the journey as well.
Yeah, so helpful.
That's great to hear, man. That's great to hear.
Yeah. And then property number 4, 2024. It was Jake.
Okay.
Yeah. And we purchased 300 grand. But this one is very unforgettable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting and unforgettable. We bought this with tenants.
Okay.
But the things went downhill very fast.
Okay.
Yeah. And then eventually they stopped paying rent. So we had to go through QCAT to get them out.
Okay.
They left angry and full of resentment, and the place was trashed. They punched 3 holes in the walls and then left garbage everywhere.
Okay.
broke all the glass and even poured gasoline on the carpet.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some doors don't even have doorknobs, and the house is completely covered in mold and unpleasant smell.
Mm-hmm.
And even my management property, my property manager PM, walked through, and then she said she didn't feel safe just walking through the property. Yeah, but it turns out into a blessing in disguise because the insurance came through, and then we got 30 grand of cash payout.
Okay, to renovate the home.
Renovate the home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after 6 of the ups and downs, we finally get it done.
Yeah. And the insurance covered the rental loss during that time as well.
Yeah.
So insurance companies covered the rental like difference while it's been vacant and being renovated.
Yes.
And then obviously you've got a renovated property at the end of it as well.
Yes.
They fixed everything.
Yeah.
Paint floors, everything as well.
Yeah. No, the job was too big, so the insurance don't want to repair for us.
Oh, but they pay you out.
They pay you out, and we do our job.
Okay.
Yeah, and after 6 months, the bank valuation came back.
Yep.
And then it was 480.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How much did you pay for it? 300.
300.
Mate, that's not a bad result.
Yeah.
There's a lesson in this. Right? So, and I know you've said this as well, right? But you've bought a property, obviously inherited bad tenants that we couldn't get out of for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They've left the place in a mess.
Yeah.
It's why we pay for insurance.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Insurance is covered it the whole time that it's vacant.
Yep.
You've got a renovated property at the end of it.
Yep.
You get a bank valued at 480,000, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is circa, it's pretty much bang on 60% growth.
Exactly.
In 6 months.
In 6 months.
In 6 months.
In 6 months.
But I think the real lesson out of this, for one, for three, there's those 3 lessons that came, or 3 key takeaways from it as well. But the lesson is you obviously didn't stop there. Obviously you had a serious thing that's popped up on the property, and obviously it would have been a headache at the time.
Yeah.
And we've all copped them in the journey.
Yeah.
Obviously I've had my fair share of the same sort of circumstance. And obviously, so I feel for you because it's a stressful situation when it's going on. But this is the thing, if you're adequately insured with the correct insurance provider, you're almost 99% of the time you're always covered in these situations as well, which you've obviously been a benefactor of, even though obviously the headache and the stress and everything that would have come with it.
Yep.
And I do remember having the chat with you around this at the time as well. And then, yeah, man, but obviously the light at the end of the tunnel within 6 months, obviously re-tenanted, insurance covered everything. We've now got a renovated property and cosmetically renovated everything, fixed up from that end. And then you got a 60% increase on purchase price in 6 months.
In 6 months.
How did that feel, man? 180,000 up on a 300 grand investment in 6 months.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So even was all the headaches worth it?
Oh, definitely worth it. And the best part is I probably didn't lift a finger. Because all the property manager handled all
the property
this.
manager took care of all of it.
Handle this. Yeah, so
was it stressful through it, or did she just tell you that she was obviously going to handle everything through it and it was go through insurances and everything?
It was stressful because I have to provide all the evidence.
Of course.
To the insurance company.
Yeah.
But the trading she organized, I don't have to worry about that because she organized the trading to go through everything and then fix it all.
Yeah.
So I was really happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good, man. That's good. Obviously, it's not good to have to go through the process.
Yes.
But yeah, man, having the PM look after everything for you with it, insurance payout, everything good from that end, and then a bank value obviously so strong on the back end of that as well. Now, what does that rent for now?
It's renting for. Sorry, I couldn't remember, but I remember it's a 7.4% yield.
Okay, sweet. And what do you think that's worth now? Because obviously that was 480K valuation at the time, or like 6 months later.
I haven't done the value.
You haven't done a value since then. Okay, sweet. So within 6 months, you were 60%, man, which is crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's how we keep moving on because we pull the equity out.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can keep moving on.
Okay, so you stripped equity out of that one.
Yeah.
To then buy the next ones, and obviously at this point as well, at what point between these properties did you come into mentoring too?
Mentoring.
So that was April 2024.
Yeah, April.
Like a little over a year ago now.
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that came in before property 4?
I think it's property 4, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, beautiful, man. We've pulled some equity. We've moved on to property number, or we're moving on to property number 5.
Yeah.
Talk me through the process there.
And then property number 5 is we bought it on 2024.
Okay.
And the purchase price was 270.
270, all the cheapies, mate, all the bangers.
Yes, because I think that's what we can afford.
Yeah.
That's what we can afford.
Of course, yeah.
And we need a strong cash flow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you done it for us. Yeah, you help us so much
In the strategy, yeah.
in the strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get you, man. So 270K.
It's a 8.2% yield.
8.2% yield on
Yeah.
that. Okay, beautiful. And what state's that in?
Also Queensland.
Also Queensland.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And that's crazy, man. That's a crazy result. And what do you think valuation on that property is now?
Valuation now is 350.
350.
Yeah.
350K now, or when you had it last bank valued?
Last bank val.
How long ago was that?
I think 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's probably going up, obviously.
Probably.
As well.
Yeah.
All right, sweet, man. Sweet. And so you've pulled the equity out of property number 4 to then go and buy property number 5.
Yeah.
Man, it was 180,000 up in that time frame as well. I'm guessing there's enough cash flow, enough equity left over from that equity release to be able to go into the next deal.
Yeah.
To property number 6 as well, right in the journey.
Yep.
Talk me through that, man. So you've used the same equity from property number 4?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
And then we also go back to the property number 2.
Okay.
To release the equity out.
Okay.
So we got 5 and 6.
Okay. You got what?
Probably 5 and 6.
5 and 6. Okay, sweet. All right, man. Talk me through that. Because obviously we've sold off property number 1. So we've come back and now we're at 5 and 6, obviously, of what's new in the portfolio as well, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Man, talk me through those. Let's walk through the numbers of those.
Yeah. Property number 5, we bought property number 6. Just settled. A week ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2025, we bought 350.
Yep.
And then it is 30K under market value.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. And
what does that rent for?
it's rent for 490.
Okay, beautiful. Whoa, it's a big yield straight up.
Yeah. It's a 7.2% yield.
Very nice, mate. Very nice. And then the last one, man. So you've still got equity left over. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. So with how much you've got left over, because actually I remember this now as well, because we had the budget cap, right? Because you had a certain amount that we could either go one big deal, or
two small
deals, condense it down and get 2 small deals.
Yes.
Talk me through the last deal number 7 or like 6 in the current portfolio.
Yes. Then probably 7. It's about to settle next week.
Okay.
Yeah. We bought it at 300,000.
Yep.
And then it is 50K under current value.
50K under.
Yeah. Crazy.
Mate, that's crazy.
Yeah, and the rent appraisal is 470.
470. And you said that settles next week.
So that settle next week.
Man, that's wild again.
Yeah. 8.1% yield.
Man, how did that feel rounding out the 2 final deals in there as well? Because you've gone from, man, that's a dash, right? So you bought your first one with us in 2023, and then you've ripped forward. We're in early 2025, and you've gone from a 1 property portfolio when you've sold the first one off,
Yes.
to now a 6 property portfolio on this time frame as well.
Yes.
How does that feel, man?
I think this is the journey that if I tell anyone, they won't believe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We so just 4 years we grow our property.
Yep.
From 1 to 6.
Yes.
And then from 8cc to 2.7 million.
Yeah.
That's 3 times.
Yeah.
That
And
was
we sold
crazy.
that big one off.
We sold that.
We sold that big one off.
Yes.
And replaced them, and we're still at
Replaced them with-
2.7 million.
Yes.
Man, that's strong. How does the wife feel about it?
She doesn't have any doubts in APS.
Yeah.
Or me. She gave us all the confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever I told her, we have to buy another one, or what we're going to do next, she's all for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, how does it feel having the wins now as well? You know what I mean? Like obviously you went through, like you said, man, you had the mining stuff, the stocks, right?
Yeah.
Then you had the company, the business things, all those different things, trading, Forex trading, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Man, everything you've gone through, how does it feel within you to have had that win now, have the serious win, dude? We're talking $2.7 million portfolio, 6 properties in there as well, decent cash flows because obviously the purchase price we bought them for and the rents they're now at. Man, how does that feel having, sitting in that position now?
Just grateful, to be honest.
Grateful.
Very grateful.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do this without you.
How do you feel about it?
How do I feel?
Yeah. Because you should feel proud, man.
Yes, I am.
You
I
are?
am proud, yeah.
Made
I'm
you-
proud of myself, to be honest.
You should be, man. You've pushed through when so many people would have quit. They would have quit at the first one. They would have quit at the Forex trading, or they would have quit at the mining, or they would have quit at the Amazon, or they would have quit at the first property that was bleeding them.
Yes.
Dude, you've had so many setbacks and you've now built this incredible portfolio.
I think it's what I listening to. I listening to all that successful person who has achieved so much, and that inspired me all the time, keep reminding me that I couldn't quit. I cannot quit if I want to achieve something great.
I love that, man.
Yeah. So that kept me keep pushing. I don't want to stop. And then if I want to achieve something more,
Yeah,
I have to do those sacrifice.
Yeah. I love that, man. That it's a never give up attitude, right? Like we talk about on the Top 1% podcast, man.
Yes.
That doggedness, the grit, the
The
determination,
grit, the perseverance.
Yeah, they cannot give up.
No, you can't.
Man, dude, it's a crazy thing, Yao-Chen, because the story that sort of comes off the back of this, man, like this is the stuff. Like, can you imagine telling this story to your kids when they're old enough to understand it?
I think they will probably think, no way.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. No way.
Man, honestly, it's a wild story, dude, and I think like it cannot be understated. Kind of what you kind of went through, and all the different things, man, that you went through the journey and the setbacks and everything, dude. Even like migrating over to Australia and not even having a job when you get here, and going around door knocking on all the streets in Darwin just to find a job.
Yep.
Man, sleeping on a mattress in a Vietnam 60-year-old Vietnam lady's house in her living room on the front doorstep.
Yeah.
Sleeping on the mattress on the
mattress
floor.
on the floor.
On the floor with the mosquito nets.
Yeah.
Man, it's a crazy, crazy story. Honestly, it's a crazy story, man, and one that, like I said, that you should be extremely proud of from the achievements, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm, but in the end, because I think I listened to so many podcasts, and they forms a mindset that you have to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And then if you're not, then you'll stop there, and then you're not going anywhere. You are trapped. Yeah.
So you got to keep pushing, got to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Man, even the things during the journey, like I was saying about the things with the tendency and all the stuff as well, man. Like you are the epitome, man, of the grit and the determination and the perseverance, man. And in all seriousness, man, I don't know if you've realized this. I didn't even click in my head till just then. We talk about that stuff on the Top 1% podcast, right?
Yes.
How many properties do you need to own to be in the top 1% of property investors in Australia?
5? I don't know.
So
how many.
the top 0.1% of property
6.
investors in Australia is 6 or more properties.
6 or more.
In the top 0.1%, my friend.
So am I in the top 1% now?
Yeah, you need to come over to the Top 1% podcast.
No.
How does that feel, man?
Oh,
That's cool, huh?
unreal.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, what's next in the portfolio?
What's next?
You spoke about SMSF before?
No,
Is that
I
on the
haven't.
horizon?
I think we'll still keep building up our portfolio.
Yep.
And then probably we will think about SMS.
Yep.
And SMSF.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So still keep building the portfolio.
Yeah.
Put something in there from the SMSF. Man, I would love to know what's your best piece of advice to other people as well, starting out, wanting to get into it. Maybe they're scraping together that first deposit, or they've gone through a bit of hardship in the portfolio or in their lives in general.
Yeah.
What's your best piece of advice?
I think after going through all this, I see my family financial future is like a sailboat. Each investment property is like a sails that helps you move forward. But things like mortgage and personal loans, credit card, debts, kids expensive, they are like an anchor weighing you down. And then the more liabilities you carry, the heavier the boat feels. And sometimes it barely moves. But every time we buy a investment property with rich cash flow and strategy, it's like raising another sails that helps us pick up the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think with the interests are high, it's like there's barely any winds.
Mm-hmm.
And even when the sales up, the boat still moves slowly. But when the interest rates drop, it's like a strong wind kicks in. And then with enough sales, the boat really starts to fly. And once the boat is moving fast enough, and that's where things get exciting. You start to see more, experience more, and meet amazing people. And then even dodge the rocks before you crash into them. So for me, Sam Gordon APS team is like a lighthouse.
A lighthouse.
A lighthouse.
Okay.
Guiding us through the dark and pointing us towards the financial freedom.
Mate, I appreciate everything you've said there, man. And I think it's there's some great little analogies in there as well, like the debts and I even like kind of going back to what you're saying before around like the negativity and all that sort of stuff. They're all another anchor that's being thrown out the back of the boat that's like pulling you back and slowing you down.
Yeah.
Whether they're personal debts or credit cards or the negativity, all that sort of stuff. It's like anchors, man. Yeah. But yeah, like you're kind of saying, with each win in the property game and each even if it's the interest rate cuts and things like that,
it's
like that extra sail or the extra bit of horsepower. Extra sail being raised in the boat to drive you guys further forward.
Yeah.
And man, I love it that you see APS, as like I'm guessing APS and School of Property as like that lighthouse that keeps you moving in the right direction. Yeah, for sure. And avoiding the rocks, the rocks and the icebergs out there as well.
Yeah.
No, that's good, man. That's good.
So you didn't just help us invest, you help us rebuild our future.
Yeah.
So for that, we are so much grateful and appreciate your help.
Mate, it's an absolute pleasure, man. Honestly, it's an absolute pleasure. Mate, my key takeaways, I know I was kind of saying this before as well, man, but man, the fact that you didn't give up, you know what I mean? Like it can't be understated, the amount of things you've gone through but the grit, the perseverance, you've kept pushing forward, man. And what you've created here is something significant. It's something you should be extremely proud of, man. That's really my biggest takeaway. I think one of my other ones is it's so normal these days to hear stories about people reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and reading Kiyosaki's work. And if they've never known anything about investing before, it just flicks a switch in so many people's minds about what is possible to do out there in the game as well. And it sounds like it was the same thing with you, man. You've kind of read that. It's shown you that obviously investing is the correct path for you guys to be able to get yourself, out of the average sort of position and take you into that next bracket, and especially to get you as far away from you on the kid on the bike, with your mum riding the bike and the three of you and your two sisters squished on. Man, like all that sort of stuff is like pushing you, further and further. It's moving you further and further away from that level of life.
Yes.
To now, man, moving towards something amazing that you guys are building as well. So. Man, so many really, really cool things and takeaways in this episode, man. So I really, really appreciate your time and obviously sharing all this cool stuff with us as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure, man. Dude, before we wrap up, I always like to run through a rapid fire. I've got a few questions if you don't mind if I hit you with them. And then man, see, I want to see. I'm curious to some of your answers here as well.
Okay.
You good to go?
On. Yeah.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Mate, question number 1, the biggest goal you're chasing in life.
My biggest goal of chasing in my life is financial freedom and probably 150K in passive income within 3 years.
Okay, 150K passive income within 3 years.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Man, what's a dream primary residence?
Honestly, probably the house next door to yours. I'm sure it will be beautiful, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, in reality, I think I would love a home worth about 2 to 3 mil.
Okay.
And somewhere in Brisbane with a peaceful river view.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Dream car?
I'm not actually a fan of car.
Okay.
But I think a Maserati will fit.
Okay. You like Maseratis?
Yeah.
Cool.
I like the logo. It looks sharp.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Man, the dream holiday destination?
I think it's Switzerland.
Okay.
Yeah, because everyone says it's like heaven.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful and like a postcard.
Yeah. Very nice, man. Very nice. Favorite food?
Probably top quality Wagyu steak.
Oh yeah, the Wagyus.
Yes.
Mate, we'll have to bring you down for next time you're down in the Gold Coast, man. We'll have to line up a night and we'll go grab a steak at Moo Moo's.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Down?
Down? Yeah.
Done, brother. We're gonna do it. Favorite drink?
My favorite drink would be Hojicha latte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah. It's like a Japanese roasted green tea.
Okay.
And that deep nutty flavor I love.
You love that?
Yeah, I love that.
Beautiful, man. I love that. All right, bro. Last couple of things. True or false? You know personally Ang Lee, the director of Brokeback Mountain.
No, that's false.
Oh, I heard the wives or something about you know them or something like that.
But we went to the same high school.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
so you went to the same high school.
Yeah,
You don't
we
know
went
them personally.
Not in person.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll take that. All right. True or false? Question number 2. You are Paul Dem, APS BA. You're his favorite client.
Am I?
Well, it's true or false? You tell me.
Yes, I am.
True.
True.
Mate, he sent me that in text. I have that in writing. So yeah, man, big shout out to Paulie Dem.
Yeah.
Man, final question for you. Tell me something about yourself that very few people would know.
Yes, I keep asking my wife to go skydiving with me.
Yeah.
And I say, if you go, I'll go. But she's always terrified. But honestly, I hope she never said yes. Because I'm probably more terrified than she is. I'm a chicken.
You're a chicken?
Yeah, I'm a chicken.
Oh man, well, there's something about jumping out of a plane at 14,000 feet that most people
scary.
get most people get a little bit of fear around as well, man. So, I feel you, brother. No, that's funny as. Well, mate, once again, thank you so much for joining us, Yao-Chen. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, man. I'm sure a lot of people took some great value and inspiration out of your story today, man. So, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sam.
No, absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure.
My
Listeners,
pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please send it on to someone that you think could take some great value out of today's episode or be inspired by Yao-Chen's story, because I bloody well am. And if you haven't left us a 5-star review yet and you're loving the Scouting Australia podcast, please make sure you jump on your favorite listening platform, leave us a 5-star review. And if you haven't hit the follow or subscribe button, hit that on your favorite listening platform. And until next week, guys, that's another Scouting Australia podcast.